Part 220. Divine System of the Strongest Card Supplier in the End Times, Doomsday Strongest Card Supplier. Author, Shu Yu. Chapter 2191. The magic circle above the examination field outside the Guangming Mountains flickered violently, and then they could clearly see the updated list of school tokens. School Token Leaderboard. First place, 113,549 pieces. Owner, Fang Fan. From the 3rd class Jingtian Sanctuary. Second place, 15,932 pieces. Owner, Gisha. From the 2nd class Fallen Sanctuary. Third place, 13,688 pieces. Owner, Fanming. From Fan High Palace, the 1st class Heaven Sanctuary. Fourth place, 12,389 pieces. Owner, Duguayajian. Comes from the 1st class Heavenly Wave Sword Sect in the Sanctuary of the Firmament. Fifth place, 10,327 pieces. Owner, Zuokyo Taxu. From the 1st class Temple of the Light Alliance in the Sanctuary of the Firmament. Sixth place, 983 billion pieces. Owner, Xiahe Yunlong. Comes from the Heaven and Earth Palace, the 1st class Sacred Domain of the Sky. Seventh place, 3,322 pieces. Owner, Chu Tianxiang. From the 1st class Shushan clan in the Sanctuary of the Sky. 100th place, 612 pieces. Owner, Zhou Mo. From the 2nd class Sanctuary Kungan Sanctuary. 1000th place, 81 pieces. Owner, Tianluo. From the 2nd class Fallen Sanctuary. The 16,000th place, 11. The owner is Zhao Qian. From the 2nd class Qin Sanctuary. The Tianshan Temple and the Soul Clan, the 1st class force in the 1st class Firmament Sanctuary that were originally ranked in the top 10, have disappeared. Instead, it was naturally other forces. The Tianshan Temple and the Soul Clan of the 1st rank forces were removed, but the number of Fang Fan's school tokens soared by more than 10,000, which has to be unbelievable. Fan High Palace, the 1st rank force in the top of the Sanctuary of the Vault of Heaven. Fanming, the son of Fan High Palace, is running with all his might. At this moment, besides accident, there is a hint of surprise on his face. You said that you have detected traces of the examiners in the Qingtian Sanctuary. His. Good. Excellent. Excellent. This time, our Fan High Palace will definitely become famous. This assessment will completely focus on my Fan High Palace. Ha ha ha. What Heaven and Earth Palace? What Sky Wave Sword Sect? And what Fallen World Sanctuary? All of them are not allowed. Not at all. Go all out. Speed me up. Hurry up, destroy Qingtian Sanctuary, and seize the 100,000. No. 110,000 school tokens in Fang Fan's hands. Fanming, the top official 1st rank force in the Sanctuary of the Sky, swallowed a mouthful of saliva, with sharp rays of light shining in his eyes. He felt that this was his chance, a chance to prove himself. In Fan High Palace, there are still many palaces like him. If he wants to inherit the orthodoxy of Fan High Palace in the future, then he must show a certain strength and courage. He absolutely does not want to miss such an excellent opportunity. The battle has just begun. His Royal Highness, haven't you found something wrong? The Soul Clan and the Temple of Heaven were removed one after another, and then the number of school tokens in Fang Fan's hands skyrocketed. There maybe there is something tricky between the two. A young cultivator in Fan High Palace frowned subconsciously, then walked over silently and analyzed. There are still some differences in this more or less. If you don't care about it at all, it is naturally impossible. You mean that Fang Fan led the practitioners of the 3rd class Jingtian Sanctuary to kill the Soul Race and the Temple of Heaven? Then he seized the tokens of the Academy in their hands. That's why the tokens of the Academy in his hand suddenly disappeared. What about the surge? Divine system of the strongest card supplier in the end times, Doomsday strongest card supplier. Author, Shu Yu. Chapter 2192. Fan Ming, the son of Fan High Palace, deliberately pretended to be very serious while talking. But then, he suddenly laughed out loud. How did your brain grow? Can't you be a little smarter? Fools. A bunch of fools. Sacred Sky Sanctuary, that's just a third-class sanctuary. How strong is the combat power? Are you really clueless? That's it? Can you still destroy 2 first-rank forces? Don't make me laugh, okay. According to Ben Gong's analysis, it should be that the Soul Clan and the Temple of Heaven fought because of the uneven distribution of spoils, and then Fang Fan took advantage of the opportunity, that's all. It's just a third-class sanctuary, what's the point? The fat is all in front of our eyes, can we just let it go? Let it go, those are all fools. Anyway, this Gongza will never let go of such a good opportunity. There are not many opportunities like this. This is a great opportunity for our Fan High Palace to take off. Cheer up all of you. Fight! 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 Fan Ming, the son of Fan High Palace, took a deep breath. The greed in his eyes was beyond words, all of this seemed extraordinarily sincere. Greed, everyone has it, but some people are better at hiding it. And some people's heads will look more iron. The battle song suddenly sounded, and everything exploded suddenly. Examination outside. At this moment, all the audience were dumbfounded. The speed at which the situation changed made them feel unbelievable. At this moment, they each looked at each other, and the expressions of panic and shock on their faces could not help but increase. As the eliminated party, the cultivators of the Heavenly God Hall and the Soul Clan naturally felt ashamed at this moment. Ying Zhao and Han Dan, the elder of the Han clan, who were enshrined in the Tianshan temple who were still clamoring for a fight, also seemed quite silent. As a loser, it seemed that even talking was a mistake. He. Tianjin Temple. I'm ashamed to call it the Tianjin Temple. In my opinion, it might as well be called the Zuyi Temple. It's ridiculous. It's extremely ridiculous. Just such a force, what is the meaning of it? Laughed, really laughed. Stupid ones are like pigs, they've been tricked by others, and they're still complacent. Hun Dan, the elder of the Han clan, was gnashing his teeth and talking, and the hurdle in his heart still hadn't passed at the moment. While talking at this moment, the gnashing of teeth was very real. The sense of indignation in my heart can't help but increase. The Soul Clan was out first, and the Temple of Heaven was out later. From the point of view of the Soul Clan elder Huden, if the examiners of the Tianshan Temple had chosen to join forces with the Soul Clan to attack Fang Fan would have been eliminated long ago, and both the Soul Clan and the Tianshan Temple could also eat meat. It's all right now, both of them collapsed immediately, who can ask for reason? Inexplicably feel so sad. Soul Light. This thing can't get over it, can it? Didn't the examiners of your Soul Clan participate in the battle at the beginning? Didn't you also want to fight with my Temple of Heaven? Now that this situation has arisen, put all the responsibility on my Temple of Heaven. Ridiculous. Extremely ridiculous. If the Soul Clan are all such ridiculous and shameless people, I think they might perish soon. Ying Zhao, enshrined in the Temple of Heaven, said sarcastically that there is nothing good to say about each other now. This is the heart-piercing roar between two losers. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Divine System of the Strongest Card Supplier in the End Times, Doomsday Strongest Card Supplier. Author, Shu Yu. Chapter 2193. Of course, not many people are paying attention to them now. At this moment, everyone's eyes are on the new round of war. From the mirror of the magic circle, one can clearly see that the army of cultivators from Fan Hai Palace, the apex of the sanctuary of the Vault of Heaven, is about to follow them. And for the time being, no traces of other powerful cultivators have been found around, that is to say, Fan Hai Palace will have a one-on-one PK with the third-class Jingtian Sanctuary where Fang Fan is located. Before this big boss Fang Fan killed the first rank Force Soul Race and the Temple of Heaven one after another. Now if he wants to kill this Firmament Sanctuary, it shouldn't be a big deal, right? Fan Hai Palace is one of the top 3 first-tier powers in the Vault of Heaven Sanctuary, so it is naturally not the same. There is still a big gap. Anyway, it is necessary to hang on at the beginning. You mean, Fan Hai Palace will win? Hey, then Fan Hai Palace will be able to get 110,000 school tokens at one time, and then add the school tokens they have in their hands. God, this is a rhythm that is completely against the sky. Who says it's not? Anyway, this shit is a little exciting. Is it really going to change? That boss Fang Fan is indeed very strong, and the guards under his command are even more powerful, but after all, there are only a few hundred troops, and this time Fan Hai Palace has gathered 50,000 horses. Hey! There is already a banker over there who has opened a market for this battle. Betting on the victory of Fan Hai Palace will pay 1.1 for every bet, betting on Fang Fan's hung will pay 10 for every one. A draw will pay 1.2 for every one. You pay 10 for one? What a big tone. These dealers are very aggressive. It seems that the situation is indeed not good. Tisk, who says it's not? You can tell there must be something tricky in it at a glance. I am convinced, I am really convinced. On the examination field outside the Guangming Mountains, the battles were endless and bloody, and outside the examination field, there were actually many lively things to watch. Through the magic circle mirror, the battle situation of the assessment can be clearly displayed, which will immediately trigger a wave of disputes. After all, every faction has an audience outside. Naturally, the major forces will not let go of such a good opportunity to make money, and the forces with a little bit of qualifications and capital will open a handicap on the sidelines, ready to make a fortune. Probably the content of the opening is who will be the first in the final assessment, or, when the final assessment is over, whether the number of school tokens owned by the 10th place is more than 5,000 or less than 5,000. Another example is at this time, the battle between Qingtian Sanctuary, where Fang Fan is located, and Fan Hai Palace, a top-ranking power in the Vault of Heaven Sanctuary, can be opened. At the same time, the relevant odds will be hung on it. Fan Hai Palace Handicap. I crush Fang Fan's hung of Qingtian Sanctuary, tens of billions of star cores. A glamorous female voice came, and there was a masked woman standing in front of the Fan Hai Palace Handicap. Although you can't see the face clearly, you can tell that this woman is very beautiful by looking at her figure. What did you say? 10 billion star cores. Is what you said true? Good on. At the handicap opened by Fan Hai Palace, the cultivator in charge of the handicap of Fan Hai Palace swallowed subconsciously. While talking, his body trembled unnaturally, and the look of horror in his eyes was vividly displayed. In any case, I dare not imagine that all this is true. It's too dreamy. Divine system of the strongest card supplier in the end times, Doomsday strongest card supplier. Author, Shu Yu. Chapter 2194. A small gamble is fun, a big gamble hurts the body. So basically it is a random wave. The betting of hundreds of millions of star cores is already a large bet. 10 billion star cores are amazing. What? Don't you dare accept it? Then I'd better go somewhere else. The masked woman continued to make a glamorous voice, appearing very indifferent, as if she didn't care about this matter at all. No. Not, accept. Of course I dare to accept it. If you bet on the victory of Fan Hai Palace in this war, we really dare not accept it. But if you bet on this Jingtian sanctuary to win this war, then there is no problem at all. Odds of 10 to 10, if this Jingtian sanctuary wins, you will get 100 billion low-grade star cores. At the handicap of Fan Hai Palace, the staff of Fan Hai Palace nodded and smiled as they talked. In this matter, it is natural to show a kind of self-confidence. If you don't even have this kind of self-confidence, then it is completely useless. In this matter, of course, there are points. From the perspective of these Fan Hai Palace staff, would their 50,000 tigers and wolves in Fan Hai Palace fail against the hundreds of Qingtian sanctuary practitioners? Although I have to admit that Fang Fan led hundreds of cultivators in Qingtian sanctuary to kill the Soul Clan and Tianshan Temple one after another, it seems very strong, but so what? That's nothing more than the victory of the conspiracy. At the beginning, Fang Fan used some conspiracies to make the Temple of Heaven and the Soul Clan turn against each other, and then waited until they had hurt each other in the fight before attacking the Soul Clan examiner from behind, so that under the attack from both sides, the Soul Clan was destroyed. How much combat power can the Temple of Heaven have after the heavy damage? That's why Fan Hai Palace dared to open such a handicap. 1 pays 10. What you want is sensational effect. After all the formalities were completed, the masked woman disappeared into the crowd with the betting voucher. When she came to a hidden place, the masked woman took off the veil on her face, revealing a beautiful face, and a charming smile appeared on the corner of her mouth. This woman is naturally Murong Yu. As the third-rank red-clothed Archbishop of the first-class Light Alliance Temple, and the existence of the Holy Venerable, it is normal to have the ability to produce tens of billions of low-rank star cores. Humph. This time I'm bankrupt. If you don't work hard, I will wait for you to come out and torture you. Murong Yu's eyeballs followed suit, thinking this way in his heart. The smiles on the corners of his mouth grew more and more. At the beginning, she even felt that it would be difficult for Fang Fan to accumulate enough school tokens to be a student from a foreign school. After all, what Fang Fan had shown before was only a top quasi-sage cultivation. But after so many battles, Murong Yu found out that Fang Fan is a miracle machine, bringing surprises all the time. If it is just luck to be able to accumulate 100,000 school tokens, is it also an accident that one after another wiped out tens of thousands of elite examiners from the Soul Clan and the Temple of Heaven? Where in this world are there so many accidents? If these are not accidents, they are all miracles. This is a spectacular situation unfolded by a miracle. If you win with 10 billion low-grade star cores, you can get 100 billion low-grade star cores. When I have money, I will support you. Murong Yu thought to himself. His complexion was slightly flushed, not only his beautiful eyes were shining with all kinds of sharp lights, he looked very excited. Divine System of the Strongest Card Supplier in the End Times, Doomsday Strongest Card Supplier. Author, Shu Yu. Chapter 2195. Of course, Fang Fan is not clear about these things. At this moment, he is devoting himself to the upcoming battle. He has roughly estimated that with the 110,000 school tokens in his hand, it is no problem to keep the top 10 as his own people, but he wants to occupy the top 100 in the assessment and get the top 100 in the Guangming Academy assessment. With a generous reward of 100, he still has some shortcomings. After all, the top 100 on the list of school tokens now has more than 500 school tokens. And this number is still growing slowly. Continue to gather around and fight for a wave. After solving all those examiners, in addition to getting a large number of school tokens, what is more important is that we can also directly eliminate more examiners, making the whole assessment clearer. Now is the third day of the assessment. The assessment has a total of 7 days, and there is a long way to go. Fang Fan stretched, with a bored expression on his face. From his point of view, he just felt that these things were dispensable. The current situation is already doomed to a certain extent. My lord, I have found out everything. The ones who will come are the cultivators of Fan-Hai Palace, the first rank force in the top of the sanctuary of the sky, and the number is 50,000. Among them, there are hundreds of examiners in the sanctuary realm, and countless quasi-sacred and high-level quasi-sacred realm examiners. This is a hard stubble. Satan licked his lips, and while talking, his face couldn't help showing an expression of excitement. At this moment, his hands were folded in front, and the sound of inhalation became more and more, the black wings behind him fluttered, and the sharp light in his eyes blinking constantly, and now it looks very excited. Hard stubble. Are you scared? Fang Fan glanced at Satan, and said with a teasing laugh. Afraid? How can it be? My lord. You must let me be the vanguard later. I will kill a wave of practitioners in the Fan-Hai Palace first, and then you will lead the army here. Satan rubbed his hands together with an excited expression on his face. Satan, who was born as a devil, has an indescribable obsession with blood and battles. Okay, let's go down first, let the Abyss Demon King army get ready, it will be a tough battle later. You will fight. Fang Fan took a deep breath, and the sharp light in his eyes flickered as he spoke. Taking advantage of the start of the war, Fang Fan began to check the gains from the previous battles. In the previous battle, there were tens of thousands of enemy cultivators killed by the 9 legions and 6 heroes under Fang Fan's command, and the star cores collected alone amounted to millions. As for the dropped cards of each level, I don't know how many. The only cards that can catch Fang Fan's eyes now are some cards above the Sanctuary Realm level. Holy Order card, after using it, you can directly issue an order to control a cultivator below the 5-star Sanctuary level for 3 minutes in a short period of time. Holy Level Thunder Group card, after using it, you can directly summon a 100M*100M Thunder Group, which can release 1-star Sanctuary level to 5-star Sanctuary level Thunder, which lasts for 10 minutes. Holy Grade Health card, after use, it can improve the toughness of the 5 limbs. There are hundreds of holy cards harvested from the previous battles, but most of them are holy food cards and holy blank cards. Only these 3 cards are the rarest. Fang Fan's thoughts moved silently. With these cards, the next battle will be much easier. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Divine System of the Strongest Card Supplier in the End Times, Doomsday Strongest Card Supplier. Author, Shu Yu. Chapter 2196. 10 minutes later, an army of 50,000 practitioners from Fan-Hai Palace gathered. In addition to more than 100 confidants, gathered around Fang Fan are 100 practitioners of Genji Shenzone. There are less than 300 people in total, so the gap between them is naturally huge. Fang Fan's eyes flickered, and his heart fell into endless contemplation. At this moment, he was full of anticipation for this battle. Not far away, the corpses of tens of thousands of soul clans and the Temple of Heaven are placed there, which will more or less give people a sense of awe in consciousness. Fang Fan secretly narrowed his eyes, put his hands together in front of him, and raised the corners of his mouth silently. For Fang Fan, the 50,000 practitioners in Fan-Hai Palace are the best targets and small treasuries. After the cultivators of the Soul Clan and Tianshan Temple were killed before, in addition to leaving the tokens of the school, they also had the storage rings on them. Of course, some storage rings collapsed on their own at the same time as the owner died due to related restrictions, but most of the storage rings were still intact. The star cores captured by Fang Fan were worth hundreds of millions. It can only be said that it is really too easy to make a fortune on such a battlefield. Sure enough, they are all the corpses of the Soul Clan and the Temple of Heaven. Looking at the way their corpses are piled up together, there must have been a battle between the cultivators of the heavenly temple and the soul race. If this is the case, then there is no problem with my previous guess. The strength of the Tianshan temple and the Soul clan are similar, but they also discovered the existence of Fang Fan and saw this piece of fat. Immediately, for the sake of profit, they started to fight, and when they were both injured, it was Fang Fan who reaped the benefits and killed them all, and then took the school tokens in the hands of the Soul clan and the cultivators of the Tianshan temple. Yes. That's right. Absolutely. If that's the case, then I don't need to panic at all. Anyway, everything has been revealed in the final analysis. Fan Ming, the son of Fan High Palace, took a deep breath, and couldn't help showing a relaxed and casual expression on his face. Immediately, his eyes scanned the surroundings wantonly, and various thoughts suddenly erupted in his mind. This feeling. Very comfortable. It's wonderful. Also very cozy. The corner of Fan Ming's mouth slightly raised. Fan High Palace's son Fan Ming felt that this was his chance. The whole army obeys orders. Put Fang Fan to death. Take the school token from him. Whoever kills Fang Fan, I will reward him with 10,000 school tokens. The palace child of Fan High Palace gave an order, and then put his hands together in front of him. The sound of breathing in was very real. At this moment, the impulse in his heart was very real. The coolness is frantically gathering. Fan High Palace's army of 50,000 cultivators went to war without saying a word. It looks vast, and the scene is huge. Why do these waves always come to die? I really don't want to kill you. I set my heart to the bright moon, but the bright moon shines on the ditch. Since you insist on giving me star cores and cards, then I can only accept it with tears in my eyes. Fang Fan stretched his waist, and while talking, there were sharp rays of light in his eyes, and the smile on the corner of his mouth was very real. Soldiers are good but not many. The core combat power under Fang Fan's command is the 9 legions and 6 heroes, but it is enough. Everything is ready to go. Divine system of the strongest card supplier in the end times, Doomsday strongest card supplier. Author, Shu Yu. Chapter 2197. Guan Hai. Lead the Yellow Turban Sanctuary Warlock Legion to use the Legion's exclusive skill Sacrifice Summoning. It just so happens that there are so many corpses around here that can be used as materials. Fang Fan nodded secretly, and said with a chuckle. Bales, the low heavy machine artillery corps provides fire support. Hans, the sharpshooter legion of the Gothic Sanctuary sniped and killed the leader of the opponent. The rest of the major legions are the vanguard, and they will be killed in an all-round way. Garen, Jax, and Kyle charge left and right. Caitlin. Snipe. Daji. Protect me, long-range magic attack. Vega. Fang Fan looked at Wei Jie who was at the side, and there was a strange light in his eyes. My lord, the energy of life and death accumulated in my artifact life and death book is full. While Wei was talking, he waved the book of life and death in his hand. The book of life and death, the breath of life and death overflows. This is the effect of the god position of the 8th rank god judge of the underworld owned by Vega. Divine position special effect 1. Aura of life and death. You can use the life and death book to accumulate the aura of life and death. When the aura of life and death is full, you can use the aura of life and death to add to yourself, increasing your combat power by 10 times. It lasts for 10 minutes. Side effect. In 10 minutes, increase the combat power by 10 times. This temptation is not weak. My lord, if I release the breath of life and death, I will definitely be able to kill these existences in front of me. Vega held her head high and said confidently. Because of Wajia's exclusive skill extraordinary evil power, every time he kills an enemy, he can superimpose his own magic power without limit. Now his magic power has reached a terrifying threshold. Although Wajia is only in the 3-star sanctuary at the moment, the magic strength has even reached the peak level of the 4-star sanctuary. and coupled with the 10 times bonus of chi of life and death, one can imagine how terrifying it is. Need not. How can you kill a chicken with a sledgehammer? To deal with them, you don't have to spend so much. Save your life and death energy for the time being, and use it at critical times to bring about catastrophic effects. Fang Fan smiled, and the sneer at the corner of his mouth grew more and more. But there are too many enemy troops in front of us. The skeleton soldiers summoned by Guan Hai's sacrifice may not be able to withstand it. Wei Jie raised his eyebrows, and couldn't help showing a worried look on his face. I have my own arrangements. I still have a lot of cards in my hand, but I can take them out to try the effect first. Fang Fan shrugged, then suddenly flew into the air, his eyes scanning the surroundings wantonly. At this moment, all the legions and heroes have followed suit. Among them, the one that made the most noise was naturally the Yellow Turban Sanctuary Warlock Legion led by Guan Hai. This is the exclusive legion skill of the Yellow Turban Sanctuary Warlock Legion, and it has always been extremely powerful. Sacrifice call, sacrifice blood, corpses, life, and everything, summon the undead to fight. It just so happens that there are still many corpses and blood left by cultivators of the soul race and the temple of heaven on this ground, which can be used as targets for sacrifices. Destiny calls. Sacrifice of the undead. Guan Hai and the rest of the sanctuary warlocks murmured to themselves, and then there was a strong wind in the sky. Under the sky, black mist gathered, and hurricanes galloped wantonly in the air. The blood and corpses on the ground gradually weathered, gradually turned into mummies, and gradually turned into skeletons. The silt on the ground buried these bones, mixed with dried blood, tumbling and rolling in the silt. Divine system of the strongest card supplier in the end times, Doomsday strongest card supplier. Author, Shu Yu. Chapter 2198. Immediately, under the astonished gazes of everyone, these corpses slowly and autonomously climbed up from the sand. They took off their own ribs and polished them into weapons, and then launched a full-scale attack. Boom! Boom boom boom! The ground shook wildly. Everyone's eyes gathered here, their faces more or less frightened and uneasy, their eyes widened, and then suddenly fell silent, which can be clearly felt from their facial expressions. These are what the hell? Skeletons, a lot of skeletons are attacking us. I'm going, can we hold on? Can't hold on. Hee. If you can't hold on, you have to hold on. All out attack. All out battle. These skeleton soldiers don't seem to be low in level, high level quasi-sages, extreme peak quasi-sages, there's still sanctuary. The number of skeleton soldiers is tens of thousands. These skeleton soldiers are not afraid of death. What should we do? We are not opponents at all. What should I do? Cold salad. Fight. Continue to fight for me. Invincible. If we can't hold on, do we still want the school token? Through the Yellow Turban Sanctuary Warlock Corps, tens of thousands of quasi-sacred and sanctuary-level skeleton soldiers were directly summoned as forwards. At this moment, they are the best existence on the defensive front. The sudden confrontation with these skeleton soldiers was also a particularly horrifying feeling for the tens of thousands of practitioners in Fan Hai Palace. The panic in their hearts occupied most of them, and the fear on their faces was particularly vivid. Everything expressed at this moment is particularly sincere. Gongzi, the timing of the appearance of these skeleton soldiers is really not right. Should we evacuate a wave first? Continue to fight after this wave passes. A cultivator from Fan Hai Palace came over, and then whispered softly to Fan Hai Palace's son Fan Ming. This has already begun to appear. Fang Fan, the third-class Jingtian sanctuary, is indeed not as easy to provoke as he imagined. Evacuate now. Where did all your usual courage go? Feeling scared and uneasy now? Is this your will to fight? Ridiculous. Extremely ridiculous. It's just tens of thousands of skeleton soldiers, what is it? Can it stop the front of our Fan High Palace? We have 50,000 people. A total of 50,000 elites. The number of cultivators in the Holy Realm is as high as hundreds. The number of cultivators in the Supreme Quasi-Sacred Realm is even as high as tens of thousands. Tell me, what are you afraid of? Do you still want to seize the token of the school? Do you still want to join the Guangming Academy? Fight! Fight for me! Don't slack off! Fight to the end! I need your feral roar! Fan Ming, the son of Fan High Palace, roared, and his fighting spirit suddenly became frenzied. From his point of view, if he doesn't seize the 110,000 school token in Fang Fan's hand, he will never give up. As for losing something when fulfilling this wish, isn't that a normal thing? How can there be so many perfect things in this world? There is absolutely no need to say more, there is no need. The eyes of Fan Ming, the son of Fan High Palace, were flickering, thinking this way in his heart, and then he let out a foul breath. The sound of battle is still coming out. When the army of 50,000 cultivators in Fan High Palace broke out completely, their combat effectiveness would naturally be extremely strong. 10,000 summoned quasi-sacred skeleton soldiers are naturally far from enough. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Divine System of the Strongest Card Supplier in the End Times, Doomsday Strongest Card Supplier. Author, Shu Yu. Chapter 2199. Accompanying tens of thousands of quasi-sacred sanctuary realm skeleton soldiers are 12 30 cm machine guns. With these skeleton soldiers as a barrier, all-round defense can be achieved to a certain extent. At this moment, after the battle has completely broken out, it will naturally complement each other. Almost every second, more than a dozen 30 cm machine gun shells fell among the densely populated Fan High Palace practitioners, causing wave after wave of casualties. In fact, the casualties caused are insignificant, and the more important thing is to destroy the enemy's morale. Shouldn't these be the Star Corps guns on the flying battleship? Why did they appear here? It's too difficult. It's so humming difficult. You're even playing with a hammer. It's always a cool situation. Hold on to everything, there is still hope, hope is right in front of our eyes, we must not miss it. Didn't it mean that we are dealing with a cultivator of a third-class sanctuary? Can the third-class sanctuary summon so many skeleton soldiers? Can the Star Corps cannon be brought in? Hey, have we been tricked? The brothers suffered heavy casualties. I originally wanted to come here to pick up the cheap ones, but now it's a good thing, if I didn't find the cheap ones, I just got a blow. Now we can't sustain such a stinging attack at all. Now we haven't even touched the hair of others, we have already damaged so much. Resentment gradually spread among the army of practitioners in Fan High Palace. Although until now, their casualties were only 2,000 or 3,000, but that kind of fighting will was indeed not so strong. They are all ready to fight the wind, but now they are told that they are a hard bone. This hard bone is really not delicious at all. Anyway, it doesn't matter much to ordinary practitioners like them to grab the school token. Basically, the elite students of Fan High Palace snatched most of the school tokens, and then enabled more elite students of Fan High Palace to have the quota of inner palace students. As for ordinary cultivators like them, there is a high probability that they will release a few places for foreign students, and then they will fight for the land and blood. See through it all. The benefits are not enough to make them explode. This seemed all too real. Fan Ming, the son of Fan Hai Palace, suddenly frowned. Looking at the messy battle situation in front of him, he was naturally very upset. This is clearly making fun of him. These bastards don't go all out at all. Otherwise, the group of skeletons in front of me would have been cleaned up long ago. Pass down the order of the palace. Kill Fangfan in Qingtian Sanctuary, reward 10,000 school tokens. 1 billion star cores. Behead an ordinary cultivator in Qingtian Sanctuary, 1 head, 100 school tokens, 1 million star core rewards. I will do what I say. That is to say, as long as you can get the head of a cultivator in Qingtian Sanctuary, you are basically doomed to be among the top 16,000 in the Academy's token auction gang. You should know what I mean by what I said. I hope you have some ideas in your mind. This battle? Endless. This is fighting for my Fan Hai Palace. It is also fighting for yourselves. Everyone is willing to join me in beheading the cultivators of the Qingtian Sanctuary and grab the token of the Academy. Become the supreme pride of the Guangming Academy. Divine system of the strongest card supplier in the end times, Doomsday strongest card supplier. Author, Shu Yu. Chapter 2200. The roaring sound followed more and more, and after the fanming of the Fan Hai Palace made a promise, the smiles on the faces of the practitioners in the Fan Hai Palace gradually increased. What they want is actual benefits. Beheading Fang Fan in Qingtian Sanctuary, you will directly get 10,000, 10,000 school tokens. Hey, if I have 10,000 school tokens, I can directly jump to the top 10 of the school token rankings. By then, I will find a place to hide when the time comes, and then I will be able to become a student of the Guangming Academy. It's true, the opportunity is right in front of us now, we can't miss it. We must not just miss it. I don't have a big heart. There is only one Fang Fan in Qingtian Sanctuary. Do you really think that your luck is so good? Can you really kill him? I just want to kill an ordinary practitioner in Qingtian Sanctuary. Satisfied, I just want to get 100 school tokens, and then become a student of the foreign school. This is enough. Brothers, a great opportunity is just around the corner. What are you waiting for? Go, go. The roaring sounds continued, and the scene suddenly exploded. Everyone's eyes were focused on this, and the sound of each gasping for air was vividly displayed. When the interests are in place, everything is easy to talk about. As long as the big cake is big, there will be no worries about no dead soldiers following. Everyone's eyes gathered here, and while they were talking, the excited expressions on their faces were vividly displayed. Seeing the 10,000 skeleton soldiers being gradually wiped out, gradually broken through, the expression of arrogance on the face of Fan Ming, the son of Fan Hai Palace, grew more and more. A mere third-class sanctuary. What qualifications do you have to fight against my Fan Hai Palace? Overreach. As for those roaring star core cannons, when I get close, I will definitely be able to take care of it. The overall situation is settled. Fan Ming, the son of Fan Hai Palace, thought in his heart, and the smiles on his face grew more and more. From the perspective of ordinary people, the situation is indeed like this. Although Fang Fan is surrounded by a cloud of masters, and the number of sanctuary powerhouses is as high as more than 100, there are also hundreds of sanctuary realm practitioners in Fan Hai Palace. And there is also the existence of the 4-star sanctuary. The strongest around Fang Fan are the 6 heroes, all 3-star sanctuary. In addition, there are tens of thousands of ordinary practitioners helping Fan Hai Palace, so everyone feels that the battle is settled. Outside the examination field, everyone naturally saw the battle situation in front of them clearly through the magic circle mirror. Sure enough, no matter how big the dark horse is, it has its limits. After all, it can't hold it anymore. This third-class Qingtian sanctuary is already proud enough, who would have thought that they would be able to wipe out the examiners of the ordinary first-rank Force Soul clan and the Tianshan Temple one after another, and even caused some casualties to the top-ranking first-rank Force Brahma Sea Palace. This time, if it wasn't for the Fanming, the son of Fan High Palace, who chose a heavy reward in time, I am afraid that these Fan High Palace practitioners would really not be willing to fight hard. Hey! After all, I still paid wrongly. Fang Fan from the third-class Jingtian Sanctuary can be regarded as a generation of pride, but it's a pity that the end of destruction cannot be avoided in the end. Now he chooses to crush the distress order and there is still a glimmer of life. If he delays, when the tens of thousands of elites from Fan High Palace swarm up, he may not even have the chance to crush the distress order. Hey, I made a lot of money this time around. I bought 100 million low-grade star cores from Fan High Palace to win. Even at odds of 1.1 to 1, I can still earn 10 million.